playtime is over. Get your Prepared Mind merchandise at thepreparedmind.club. Help keep free speech free and spread the word about the need to prep. Good morning, everyone. This is John, your host on the Prepared Mind channel. It's an early morning broadcast. I'm trying to get to you guys when I have more energy and get this information out. Okay, lots of stuff today. I'm going to call it the Board of Truth Pourri time. Pourri. It's good enough for Alex Trebek on Jeopardy. It's good enough for us here. All right, so let's start at the top of the board. Number one, what is going on with Trump, right? A lot of concern right now because of the anger the Democrats have that if they win in 2018, that is congressional races, every 2 years, every congressional seat is up for grabs. What does that mean? We could have a complete flip of power, right, in the House of Commons, right? The little people, the House of Representatives. They call it the House of Commons in England, right? And in the Senate, 1/3 changes over every 2 years. So in order for them to make hay, Congress, to get an impeachment trial, they need to win. Now here's the deal. They are on the ropes and Trump is bam, 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 bam. He's whipping their asses. So what's the deal, right? What is the deal? The Democrats are desperate. And this isn't a Republican versus Democrat thing. Guys like Senator John McCain, right, is a Republican and also an incredible anti-patriotic loser, in my opinion. Just one man's opinion. Right? The guy is on the left more than the right, yet he calls himself a Republican and he has power. That guy needs to be gotten out of there. So hopefully he is gone. Right? But the deal is Trump, you know, is he going to lose the House? Is he going to lose the Senate? If he does, yeah, you bet they're going to run to the cameras and say, we're going to impeach Trump. What the left wants, what the evil bastards want, what the deep state wants is to get rid of Trump, to stop what he's doing. And their next opportunity is this year, at the end of the year in election time. And trust me, the mainstream news, what are they going to do? They're going to start talking about elections earlier than ever. Earlier than ever. New world record. It'll probably be Monday. Tuesday of next week they'll start talking about it. Right? Because they want it stopped. They want it contained. They want their power and control back. The mainstream media does. And we ought not let them have it if we can help it. So, Trump, right, is he going to lose to congressional Democrats? Congressional deep staters, in other words. The grassroots level of activity that controls us. And by grassroots, I mean that's the shit we see that we walk on. All these congressmen. Okay, so, anyways, here's the deal. So far, Trump has beaten the Illuminati. If he was one of them, why would they want him to expose them? He's beaten and exposed them. Now these people, they're like mushrooms. They like to stay in the dark and that's where they grow, right? That's where they grow, in dark, creepy places. And yeah, they've been successful at it. But Trump has beaten them. He's exposed them. He shined the light. Flashlight, that's a simulated flashlight move. Shine the light on them. So if Trump can beat, and has for the last year, actually the last year and a half, because he won the election. That was a 6-month run-up. For the first time, and I don't know when, a Republican who isn't a Republican got in and beat the Republicans at their own game of throwing elections away. That's what Republicans love to do. Ask Bob Dole, another guy, right? Bob Dole says, Bob Dole says I threw that away because Bob Dole didn't give a shit, it seemed like. It was Bob Dole's turn. Anyways, I kind of like Dole, but he threw it away. Not charismatic, not powerful, not strong. Anyways, Trump, he's beaten them. I don't know how Trump can lose to Democrats in little districts. I'm sure he's going to lose some, and guess what? He may gain more. But right now, the threat is coming from the deep state through its mouthpiece, the Democratic National Committee, which is under investigation for murder, corruption, right? Election tampering, fraud. They're in big trouble. They aren't talking about that on the news. They're trying to keep it down. Hush, hush, hush. Good coffee, by the way. And it tastes even better in a Are You Ready for Shit to Hit the Fan mug. Yeah, it takes a certain kind of guy to drink coffee out of a cup with his own face on it. All right, so Trump beaten and exposed the Illuminati. He's going to have dirt and trash that's real, not fake news, real news that he's going to be able to hand Republicans in those districts. Trump will be behind the scenes orchestrating. The man has masterfully done well. Now, I'm not going to just blow his horn and blow smoke up your ass, right? I am suspicious still. I like what I'm seeing, though. If I'm right about this being a giant double ruse, double blind, double fake rope-a-dope, well, we're fucked anyways. So if I'm going to have any hope, it's going to be in the results that we've seen so far. And the results we've seen is he's beaten and exposed the Illuminati. Don't count on him losing to Democrats. The news is going to say the Democrats are winning. They're going to take back the House. They're going to impeach Trump. You're all going to be screwed to death by the return of dark power to D.C. That should really motivate Republican, conservative, Tea Party type Americans to get their asses to the polls and make sure they vote for the right candidate. Because the threat is real. We will be punished severely if the Democrats get back in power. They'll get rid of Trump, or try to, and then they'll get rid of us. Right? They'll hurt us. Okay, so now on to the next thing. And when I saw this, it struck me, and I realized it, and I can't believe I missed it before. Basically because of the emotional side of things. Right? Being an INTJ type, I tend not to be so emotional. Okay, I can be excited and enthusiastic and exuberant and all those great E words. But emotional, right, it's kind of repressed. Anyways, I was watching the SGT report with David Morgan as the guest. And the links should be down below. Right, Jolene, I asked to put these links here. David Morgan, I'm watching his report on precious metals and the economy. I want to know what he has to say in relation to what SGT talks about. And David is the silver guru. What's that mean? He's a financial geek, a financial nerd. And when I'm nerding it up, I want to hear what David has to say. So we're watching all this. And every now and then, David lets it out that he's a truther. It's very interesting that he uses that phrase. And phrases similar to it to describe himself. He's part of the Patriot crowd. He's part of the Sound Money crowd. Part of the Return to the Republic crowd. But he's very low-key about it. And he was kind of asked about this Pfizer report. So I wrote some thoughts down. I want to read them very briefly because I want to get them verbatim as they came out of my head. As I've stated, I've been sick for a couple of weeks now, and it's taken a little bit of my sharpness, which pisses me off. All right. I wrote, for a financial geek, a reserved man to demonstrate that emotional reaction indicates the level of repressed hope that the seemingly kindest of hearts has for our nation and speaks to the belief by the silent majority that our nation was lost. I wrote that about David Morgan. His reaction about Hillary possibly getting arrested, which was what he was which was the subject matter at that part of the interview. he just got elated. He was like, oh, it would be amazing to see her do the perp walk. So I recommend you watch it. And it's at the end of the video, but the whole video is worth watching. But at the end, you could just see him light up like a child. Thrilled that this could happen. Knowing that Hillary Clinton is the strong hand that holds, right, the Illuminati's power at our level that we can see and feel. And to see her marched off indicates a belief system that we all have, that we're being screwed over and stolen from. But we repress those feelings and we keep it real. We keep it in what we can see, hear, think about, affect, touch, prepare for. But he had this emotional outburst that I saw, I detected on him, of so much that's been just kept down and bottled in. And Trump, because of what he's doing, is letting that out. It's giving us some positive movement that we have never seen. Well, at least not in the last 30 years. Right? And then I watched Judge Jeanine. And there should be a link down below for her as well. She talks about the FISA report. And she excoriates the FBI and Comey and all the bad guys and all the bad players and talks about what it is they do. And she holds it together. She's an, I'm just going to say it. She's an icy bitch. She's a tough bitch, right? She was a judge. She's brilliant, all of those things. But she gets to the end of it, and then she cracks. And the camera cuts. I believe the video I linked to is Bill Still, and I enjoy his stuff. But he covers this Judge Jeanine. Same story. Same story. She breaks because of the emotional outpouring that this can come to an end. It's incredible, the amount of repressed feelings. And so I wrote those down as well. I thought, John, what do you got inside you? So I wrote them down, right? Relief. Relief that this is finally happening, that something's being done. Here's other feelings. Outrage. How about this one? After all these years, vindication that there is a corrupt organization working through our government. How many years have I been saying there's good guys and bad guys? And with our government, this isn't even the top levels that I'm referring to, but it is through all levels. Vindication. Hope for justice. It's not just blind, stupid hope. It's actually becoming well-founded. Now you can support it because we're seeing progress, right? Relief. Relief from the terror. Tension, right? This constant tension that's piled on us. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. Constant threat. Oh, yeah. We talked about that. Trump. We're already being threatened with the impeachment of the president and punishment for us. The IRS was used against us. The FBI. Even though the FISA report came out showing that elements and people within there are completely criminal. Criminal, using their power at the FBI level criminally. Right? They are threatening Congress. That little worm, I think his name is Rosenstein, threatening Congress that they're going to subpoena their text messages, their emails. That's a fucking threat. Direct. And they're on the hot seat. And they're on the witness stand being accused of a crime. And they're threatening the prosecutor. They're threatening the judge. Can you fucking believe it? The temerity of these people. Fuck. All right. Okay, here's another one. This feeling of disbelief. I can't believe the shit that they're still doing. That they're still trying. Why don't the bad guys turn themselves in? Throw themselves on the mercy of the American people. Admit to what they've done wrong, how they've done it, who are their paymasters. Right? Disbelief. They have been holding up this criminal syndicate for so long. Why not let it go? Why not return the republic? And I know that's an impossible statement, but I'm just asking it rhetorically. They can't. Because they're being blackmailed. Because extortion is at play. Because of threats against them and their families. Probably all the way down to their dogs and their pet goldfish. All right. I'm actually feeling pretty good this early. Okay. Shock and terror. This is shocking stuff. You know, the Illuminati side, the deep state, the dark state. I like calling it the dark state. Getting pretty close to the evil empire, right? They're being terrorized by us. They are trying to terrorize us. It's going back and forth. There's a lot of terror. There's shock every time something new comes out. And I said last week that the Pfizer report isn't about what's in the Pfizer report. My mind, my personality says, great, if that exists, the Pfizer report, and what is in it? What else is there? It is not just the tip of the iceberg. It's the tip. This is the pinnacle of the crime syndicate that is the Mount Everest on the planet. It is the crime syndicate of syndicates. It's the big enchilada. This isn't the Italian mafia. This isn't the Jewish mafia. This isn't banker mafia. This is the big one. It's huge. It's not some little mafia organization or some politically connected organization. This is the huge syndicate, the dark state. Okay, so one more thing before I toss this raggedy piece of paper is disgust. After all we've believed because of the evidence, how we followed it, you and I forever, right? Disgust at what is coming out. All of these things are welling up and coming out. And we saw it in David Morgan. Saw it in Judge Janine when she started, you could hear her, she wanted to cry. Her anger and her intellect was working on the problem, but the emotional side that she's had repressed came out. That's how mad, that's how upset, that's how impassioned we are at our soul level. While we battle through this with our case-hardened, forged wills to keep fighting these scum in the dark state. Okay, I'm going to move on. Had to get some of that energy out there. Number 3, train collision. Train collision. Am I talking about that silly little garbage truck thing? No. I'm talking about the train, the passenger train, the Amtrak train that collided with the CSX freight train. Now, let's talk about trains. Train schedules are critical. You know, the pocket watch with the conductor looking at things, they have to hit a schedule because trains go both ways. They have side tracks where a train has to be at a certain place at a certain time, get out of the way and off to the side so another train can pass. It's not a freeway, the railway system. There are no passing lanes. There's no fast lanes. They don't get to a place and make a decision. Am I going to make a left or a right, Herb? Well, Merv, make a right this time. Let's see what's over that way and turn the train. You can't turn the train. All the locomotive engineer can do is speed up or slow down. They don't control the track system. They don't control anything except speed up and slow down so they can maintain their schedule. So, train collision. We had a train and garbage truck collision, but here we've got a freight train hitting an Amtrak passenger train. Is this a cyber attack? Is it? See, it's if this had happened 2 weeks ago, okay, error. Or maybe 10 weeks from now, I'd go, yeah, another train, they happen. This happens 2 days after the congressional train accident. It's too close. It's on Super Bowl Sunday that it happened. It smells to me like more attempts, like a cyber attack, like someone hacked into the train system and hit some switchgear and made sure that this freight train was on with the other one. Now, was it a head-on? I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. I don't care about those details. I care about why this happened. The Illuminati is pissed. They're being exposed. Hillary's being exposed. Is this one of those incidents that I pointed to where the powers that be have turned loose their minions and said, punish, punish, punish? And this train collision is a result of someone having the keys to get into the computer room to mess with their system. Are we going to see more of this type of shit? I think we will. Is it made to look like, it's an accident? To me, it looks like terror. Because this type of shit doesn't happen. This isn't wrecking your mom's Hyundai. These are trains. Multi-millions of dollars. Freight. Passengers. Lives. All right, let's leave that alone. The dollar is going down, which means inflation is going up. The Fed has been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks how they want a 2% inflation rate. They want more inflation. But see, in order to have the economy chug along, they need cheap money. They need people investing in Wall Street, right, and not saving money, etc. So the Fed wants inflation, and they haven't been able to get it to the satisfaction level they want. As soon as they get it, they're going to have to raise rates. As soon as they raise rates, it's going to kill the economy. Trump is saying, no, we don't want a weak dollar because that leads to inflation. Right? But so we've had deflationary pressure for years now, since they started quantitative easing, to make king dollar powerful. And that has held inflation down. All of that money printing, all of that QE, it's been balanced to a degree, or at least marginally helped by the strong dollar. But see, the Fed wants inflation, and so they're helping contribute to the weakening of the dollar. And a poor performing U.S. economy is leading to that. People are trying to get out of the dollar. It's coming down fast and hard. That's going to cause inflation, hyperinflation, collapse of the market. Because as the dollar goes down, interest rates on U.S. treasuries goes up. Why? Because everyone's selling them. They don't want a weak dollar. They don't want to hold 10 years worth of weak dollar. They don't know where the bottom is. Now, okay, so that's going on with the dollar and Trump. That's a financial battle. Now, one of the things I keep asking myself is I see these small victories in the American people waking up. Is the patriotic response is, are we being tricked? Are we being fooled? Are we being led by the noses? You know, and I say it's possible. All these things that are happening could be happening for the right reason. But is there a bigger punch coming down the road? I don't know. Alien invasion, the exposure of a nuclear superpower that we didn't know existed, and this was hinted at the other day. Some unknown power exposes itself, like a specter from James Bond. Are we being tricked by the Democrats? Do they really have what they need to get Trump out? Is Trump really a super secret deep state agent who needed to expose all this stuff to get everyone riled up, to cause all of these financial and political, machinations, to get everyone riled up and then collapse the system? Who knows? Okay. Patriotic response, are we being tricked? I'm always on the lookout for it, but I've got to go with the stuff we have. I probably have a more intuitive mind, so I can take little clues and I try and find shit in them and I share them with you guys. Anyways, we'll see, right? That bothers me when I step back and go, wait a minute, John, are you being tricked? And I have to ask the question, right? We could be, yeah. Can't get away from that possibility. So, stock market, bonds, the 10-year, I say they are the most critical element. The bond bubble is bigger than the stock market bubble. It's bigger than the housing bubble. It's huge, the bond bubble. The Dow is the second most critical. That is Wall Street. Whether you like the NASDAQ or the S&P, the Russell, whatever. But I just pay attention to the Dow. It's been around the longest. Interestingly, they're thinking of kicking General Electric, GE, off of there. And GE's been on there, I think, since 1906, if memory serves me correct. Thank you, Coffee, for helping me out. And they're going to pull it off. Why? It's not performing well, and they want to maintain this concept that the Dow is strong so that you and everyone else like you continues to send your money to Wall Street. They don't want you to save your wealth. They don't want you to have wealth. They want you to invest. And investing is gambling. Now, if you want to gamble, that's fine. I don't think it's a sin. I think it's stupid. And they say, look at all the money you're making. Right? That's like looking at a roulette table. Never mind the wheel and the board. That's the Dow and the stock market. They want you to look at all the chips on the table. Every gambler has their life savings on the table. And if you're in the stock market with that, you're all in. You're all in on the stock market. And you think, look at all this money on the table. The Dow is huge. It's massive. The Dow's never been higher because look at all the money on the table. Now, while we're on the roulette analogy, the dealer spins the wheel, lands on the green. Nobody wins when you land on the green unless you bet on the green. The 0, 00. And what happens? That guy gets out with the rake and he rakes all the money off the table, takes those chips, puts them down the little magic slot, and everyone sits around the table looking at each other going, well, we were all in and we were all playing so well, and it came up on green. We all lose. What the fuck? That's called a stock market collapse. Like I said, the only way to win is to bet on the one place that guarantees you won't lose the thing. And I've talked about it in the past. I call it precious metals. Something you hold physically that doesn't go away and can't be taken from you by your bank, having your deposits confiscated, or Wall Street, where you gamble and lose. All right. So the Dow is the second most critical. The third, I say, isn't oil, but it's the dollar, the value of the dollar. And we talked about that up here. The dollar I have is number 3. It's very important to the entire economy, but people don't understand it. They hold a paper dollar and they go, well, it's a dollar. I have that. It's not silver or gold, but it's still a dollar. But what does it buy? What is its purchasing power? Right? An ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. And 55-gallon drum, or 45-gallon, or 50, whatever you got, is oil. Right? That's a real commodity. The dollar is not a real commodity. It's a speculative instrument, note. It represents debt. And as the dollar value falls, your purchasing power falls. That doesn't directly affect us so much. We go, I lost 1%. I lost 2%. Oh, whatever. That's inflation. But when the dollar was down at 80 last time, oil was up at $106 a barrel. They need the cost of oil to go back up to help fund and pay for all of the shale oil, sand oil, shit oil, as well as getting oil out of Anwar. That's much more expensive because of its Arctic remote location. It's just more expensive to get it here. It's up there, but it's more expensive. So the speculators are being used, right? They need that oil higher. In order to get the oil higher, the dollar has to come down to inflate the price. That's going to inflate the price of a lot of commodities, including precious metals. And it's going to hurt the American consumer because things are going to be more expensive. That's going to cause the entire economy to slow down. The same way an increase in interest rates will slow the economy because there's less cheap money. And we are still at all-time lows. Money's never been this cheap. It encourages people to get loans and buy shit. And so the economy is driven by consumerism, consumption, not by production and savings. Right? It's supply side economics versus good old-fashioned, I made some money, I took care of my expenses, and I'm saving my own wealth. Right? This is where we're going to get hammered. Right? Bonds, it's the most critical because it's the biggest. The Dow, because that's what people are most aware of, is representing our economy. And the dollar, because it does affect the economy directly, and it can affect us very quickly. All right, thank you for engaging in the Board of Truth examination and the Pourri edition. Thank you, Alex Trebek. You guys, keep a sharp eye. Crazy world out there, crazy world. And it's not going to get less crazy. So be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And go to the preparedmind.club for all your other prepper needs. And thank you guys for being here on Patreon with me. I really appreciate it. So, be cool. Chance favors. The Prepared Mind is yours. Godspeed to all.